What is going on, everybody? My name is Jay. This is Unplayable, and today we are going to be taking a look at Star Wars Rivals Series 2. Now, this finally just hit the shelves. Got it from Target. I was a big fan of Series 1 when it dropped. I played it at Gen Con last year, 2023, and I just wanted to bring you guys a good review of what I think about this game and share it with you guys. So let's go ahead and crack into it. All right, let's take a look at the unboxing here. So we've got the starter set and 4 of the small boxes that you can get. All 4 are dark side, and they come with random characters in each one. Like I said, I got 4 dark side boxes here. Inside the starter set, we have the rule sheet, very concise, and it actually shows you the characters that you can get in the set itself. And then we've got the tokens and we've got the characters. So we've got Qui-Gon, Maul, Ahsoka, Baylan Skoll, all their character cards, 12 locations, as you can see here, and then also the cards for each character. We've got 3 Darth Maul cards, we've got 3 Baylan Skoll cards, 3 Qui-Gon cards, and 3 Ahsoka cards. And then last, we've got the miniatures, which look fantastic. You got Ahsoka, Qui-Gon, Maul, and Baylan Skoll. All of the miniatures look really, really good. And then we have the Kyber crystal shaped die, and you get to roll it here. It rolls really well. I love the Kyber crystal die. It's way cooler than the D6 you get out of the small boxes. So let's look at the tokens. We've got all of the tokens necessary in order to play. You've got the high ground token, you've got the -1 tokens, you got the 1, 2, 3 for locations, and then you have the character tokens. So a Imperial Trooper or a Rebel Trooper. So technically the starter set does not come with enough tokens or characters to play a full team because you need 3. So you use a temporary kind of token character in this case, which is not the full experience, but that's fine. It also comes with back to tank tokens, which you don't need if you have the playmat. In our first dark side box, we're opening Moff Gideon here. His miniature looks awesome because he's taking off. He's also in Mandalorian style armor. And then we've got his 3 cards and tokens for him. Box number 2, let's see what we got. My favorite character, Cad Bane. This is the one character I wanted to pull in all of this season or all of this series, and I got him, which I'm so stoked about because he's one of my favorite characters in the Star Wars universe. So I was excited when I saw him come out of the box. You got his character card, his 3 deck cards, and then a couple locations with some tokens. Next up, we are going to be pulling a hologram Darth Maul. Now you can see on the miniature for the hologram version, the lightsabers are a little bent. The starter set version doesn't come with bent lightsabers, so I don't know why the hologram version has them a little bit. Maybe it's different plastic, I don't know. And then in the last pack, we open a vein. So there you have it. That's what it looks like when you open these boxes. Now this is a head-to-head 2-player game where you're going to be combining or choosing 3 different characters, either light side or dark side, and pitting them against each other to see who can control the most locations, basically the most value in locations. So there's 3 locations that start on the board. Whoever at the end of the round, if that location is scored, if you have the most power there, you're going to gain that into your kind of collection of locations that you've won. And once the location deck runs out, there are 12 locations in the location deck. Once that runs out and all the locations are scored, then whoever has the most points is going to be the winner. Now, how does the game play? Basically, you're going to start with the player who has the high ground. Yes, there is a high ground, which is basically the initiative. Who gets to go first? Don't try it, Anakin. So whoever has the high ground is going to be the first one to place. You get to take one of your characters, one of your little miniatures, and you're going to put it on one of the locations. Now, each character has their own power value. So Cad Bane here, see this 3, that means he is a value 3 whenever he's at a location. Meanwhile, you have Darth Maul here, who is a power 5. And then the highest that we have seen so far, Qui-Gon is a 6, Darth Vader is a 6. Some of the more powerful characters in the lore are going to be 6s, like those 2. So I place the dude since I have the high ground. My opponent places one of their dudes at one of the locations, and then I go and we do that back and forth. until all 3 characters have been placed. So you can place any number at 1 location. There's a trick though. After you've played all of the characters, you're gonna roll a die, and the die will determine which of these locations is going to be scored. So if it rolls a 1 and a 2, then locations 1 and 2 will be scored. If it rolls 2 and 3, then just those 2. If it rolls 1, 2, 3, all 3 will be scored. But not all 3 will always be scored in every game. And then if there's a special symbol, if that symbol is rolled, it's going to score the locations that are worth the most. So if there's just a 5 out there, then it will score just the location that's worth 5. After you roll the die, both players are going to choose a card from their hand. You have 3 cards in hand. I guess I can explain. When you choose your 3 characters that you're going to build, for example, Balin's Skull, Cad Bane, Darth Maul, each character has their own 3 cards for that character. So Darth Maul has 3 cards, Cad Bane has 3 cards, Balin's Skull has 3 cards. You're gonna take the 3 cards from all 3 of those characters, shuffle it up, and that's gonna be your 9-card deck for the entire game, which is very cool because you get to customize basically what your deck is without really deck building. You just get to choose your characters and use their things, their cards. But I think that's really fun and really cool because there's so many combinations you can do, especially with 2 sets now. Anyway, you're gonna have 3 cards in your hand. So after you roll the die, each player is gonna choose one from their hand, put it face down, and then you're going to reveal and resolve those actions. The player with the high ground is gonna be the one that reveals their card and resolves it first. And then the next player the player that doesn't have the high ground reveals theirs and resolves theirs. These can be any number of crazy different abilities. You can move locations. So if you have a guy that's at a location that's not going to be scored, some of these cards let you move it from that location to one that is going to be scored. Or if there's one that you know for sure you're going to lose, you get to move your guy to one that is going to give you a win instead of wasting the value of that character at one that's going to lose. You can give other characters -1 tokens that stay on them permanently until they go back to the back to tank to heal and take those -1s off. And the -1s basically decrease what their power value is for however many -1s are on them until they go to the back to tank and heal that up, which is cool. So after you've placed your characters, rolled the die, both played a card, then you're going to score the locations. So if 1 and 2 are scored, you're going to add up your character's values at 1 plus any abilities that you have triggered for the round. Whoever has the most value there is going to take that location. So this one is worth 4 points, and you're going to put it into your location deck of cards that are locations that you've won. Some locations have abilities like this one, the Theed Generator. It says, when this location is revealed, both players draw up to 2 action cards. And then some of them are just worth points. Like this one here, it's just a 5-point location. After you've scored all of the locations that are scoring that round, you refill the 3 locations until there's 3 from the deck. If the deck is empty, then that's gonna be the last round. You score all the locations no matter what. If it's not empty, you're gonna keep playing until the deck is empty and you scored all of the locations. Instead of taking one of your characters and putting them in that location, I refer to the back to tank. You could just set them off to the side for the round. They cannot move out of the back to tank. No abilities can affect them. And at the end of the round, you just heal all -1s that are on that character. Once the game ends, you just count up all the locations you've gained throughout the round. So 4 points, 4 points, 3 points, and 4 points. That would be my score. Whoever has the most points is going to be the winner. Now the game really shines with these cards here. They do some insane things. Let's pick one for example. I'm your worst nightmare, pal. If Cad Bane and exactly 1 enemy are the only characters at Cad Bane's location, move that enemy to the back to tank. If that enemy is a scoundrel, you may also draw up to 2 action cards. So you basically just move their character out of the location, which is crazy. Let's see another one. We are no Jedi. Discard a card from your hand. 1 ally with lower influence than Balin doubles their influence this round. If they are a Force user, double it again. So he's really good with other Force users, specifically some that have less influence than he does. So like 3 or 4 because he has 5. Because then you double it, and if there's a Force user, you double it again. That's a lot of influence that you're giving that other character. So yeah, that's pretty much the general premise of the game. It's not super complicated. It's pretty easy to get into. They have a detailed FAQ for any questions that you may have on the forums or on their website. Getting to choose the different characters that are going to be on your team and building their deck together is just a very cool idea for such a mass market game. I mean, it really is brilliant from Funko to do this, because they can also sell the individual boxes to where you open it and you get a new character with new cards and you're like, okay, nice, this is sweet. And it's very affordable, which is stellar. So let's talk about the production. Number one, the artwork looks great. It's a little chibi-ish, but the artwork at least looks good. The different graphic designs look really well done. Nothing is confusing. It's all out there. It looks good. It's solid. The miniatures are amazing for the cost. These miniatures are so sick. Look at this Cad Bane. This Cad Bane looks awesome. I really want the Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt looks like he's gonna be a really cool one to have because he's huge. One complaint I would have about the production is the shape of these cards. I know what they're going for. They're going for the sabacc shaped cards, which is thematic. But I really hate the shape of these cards when I'm playing. It's terrible. I can't sleeve them. The card stock is good. Very solid card stock. I just do not like the shape of these cards. Oh, I should also mention that some of these cards actually have missions on them. So they look like this. And if you fulfill the mission while it's in your hand, you can take it and put it in your score pile. And it gives you points equal to what's at the bottom. So this one gives you 4 if you score it. But it gets removed from your deck for the rest of the game. So you go from 9 cards to 8 cards, or 7 or 6, depending on how many you score. And some of them are pretty strong cards. So you kind of have to decide if you think it's worth getting rid of that card from your deck in order to have the score at the end of the game. So yeah, the production is great, except for this. There's also like, you don't keep this box to store it in. You don't keep the little boxes to store those in. I also think it's really weird that it's collectible, where you buy a box and you get a random character out of it. I almost wish it was just like, you could buy the characters. I understand why they did it. And it, like, I don't fault them for it. It just feels bad for someone like me. So I'm not a huge fan of that, but I bought my own storage, so I have my own storage compartments. Or I didn't even buy it. I had some Star Wars Destiny boxes that I put this stuff in, so it works out fine. But you're not going to be keeping the box to store this stuff in, which is kind of unfortunate. But it also keeps the cost of the game down, which is nice. I mean, it's $20 for this, which isn't even really the full game, because you only get 2 characters per side, and then you have to use a little token, which I didn't talk about, but that kind of sucks. And then the premise that you can buy 1 box with 1 character and use 2 tokens is also pretty dumb, because it's not the full experience of the game. So that is also, I'm not a huge fan of, but that's just nitpicky stuff that they probably had to do because of the way that the product release cycle for this is done based on what Funko likes to do. So there's that. But enough of the nitpicky stuff. This game is so much fun. There is so much tension every time you go to place a character after your opponent placed one, trying to decide where they're going to be going, trying to hedge your bets on what the die is going to roll and which locations are going to be able to be scored, looking at your hand and knowing what characters you can or can't move, what characters will be able to like do negatives to your opponent or boost your own, trying to score the different scoring missions that are on your cards and when you should do those. It's just so interesting. It's hard. I'm not good at this game. I have lost 90% of the games I've played of this, and I still love playing it. So that says something. This game is just a blast and is very tactical. You responding to what your opponent does, especially if you don't have the high ground. Because if you have the high ground, you have to reveal and play your card first. So if you don't have the high ground, you can play a fairly flexible card that you hedge your bet that they're going to do one thing, but then they do something else and you reveal it, and you have a couple of flexible options on what you want to do based on what your opponent did. That's one of the coolest feelings when playing this game. I love the characters. They all feel like Star Wars characters, and they feel like their own specific character. Like Balin is helping his apprentice. Darth Maul has a double-sided lightsaber. Cad Bane, he's the, Western gunslinger. All of their abilities feel like those kinds of themes are streamed through them based on the character that they are, which is really fun. I like that too. I like that there's Force user synergies, bounty hunter synergies now, all kinds of cool stuff. There are holographic or hologram versions of characters, and those characters let you draw an extra card, but they're a 1 influence less of value than what their original counterpart is. So Darth Maul is a 5. He goes down to 4, but he lets you draw 4 cards instead of 3 every turn. So the holograms do give you a trade-off benefit, which is a little bit weird. It almost feels like it's unnecessary, an unnecessary part of the game. I also don't like the way the hologram versions of the miniatures look compared to like their regular versions. But you can always just play with the regular versions and say you're using the hologram card. I also just don't think the holograms are very necessary for the gameplay, but that's just my opinion. The game is still super fun. Every time I get this to the table with Mike or D-House or Jim or my wife or my dad, I have a blast playing it. It feels like a small Star Wars game in a small box. The mat that I got from Gen Con is awesome. It really adds to the gameplay, in my opinion, because it gives you a place to put everything. It feels good to have that mat. So I don't know if they're going to be making any more of those, which leads me to my next point. I don't know if they're making any more series of this, which really bites because this game is so much fun and the designers put so much work into it. I don't know the full details. Apparently Funko Games has had a big thing. This game was bought by another company, which isn't on the box. They basically did no marketing for Series 2. There's not even a BGG link for it. I don't know what they plan to do with the game at this point, which is a big bummer because the game is amazing and I want to collect all of the characters and be able to play all the different decks and combinations. It is very neat too, where you have to play dark side versus light side for it to be balanced. I mean, technically you can make up your own house rules where I pick a light side team and you pick a light side team and play, but the base rules are you play light side versus dark side, which is very neat, I think, because it keeps it thematic. You don't have to worry about playing mirrors and stuff like that. Not that this is like a tournament based game, but I think it's a nice little thematic touch where you have to play light side versus dark side. But yeah, I don't know what the future holds for this game, but I would get it and just be satisfied with Series 1. And if you get all the characters for Series 1 and Series 2, you have more than enough content to keep you happy playing this game for a long while. Tons of different combinations. And I mean, you could probably design your own characters if you wanted to. Just get some miniatures that kind of look like this for the character that you want. Get Lego characters of the characters you want, and have a blast just designing your own 3 cards for the character and go. Because the system is simple and it's just fun. It's just an absolute blast. So I highly recommend this game. I think I'm gonna give it like an 8 to an 8.5 on BGG because it is just solid. It's a solid design. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review of Star Wars Rivals. And as always, I'll see y'all next time. Bye.